Hi there, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another episode with Grada. This is Tuesday's Talk with Grada. I'm the co-owner of the Purple House Wellness Center in Fort in Tasmania and also a published author. Today, I want to talk about a controversial subject, and that is about passing over or dying. And last week, a very dear friend died in our presence. It was unexpected, and it was also very, very peaceful and beautiful. And I felt that it was a privilege that the timing worked out, that Peter and I were able to be with her as she was passing over and leaving her body. She died very, very quickly and easily. And so the whole week I've been thinking about this subject and how I can break it down for you and help you to feel less fearful around death. Because in our society we don't like to talk about it, and it's almost as if we're pretending that, like that we're an apple without a core. Imagine an apple, a piece of fruit that doesn't have a core, because death and dying and passing over is at the core of all of us. It's at the core of who we are, right? And then it's almost by us not ever talking about dying because our worst fears are around that topic. It's as if we're denying who we are as a human being or as a divine being having a human experience. So I had a near-death experience myself in 2006 when I got hit by a truck. And the impact was so horrendous, like it was a potato truck, and the tray crashed into my body and left me with catastrophic injuries. At that moment, I left my body, and so I left my nervous system, because the nervous system is inside the body, that's logical. So just think it through logically. I left my body. I could see what was happening below me, so I could see my body, could see the potato truck driving on, and I could see my children, and I didn't have any pain whatsoever. I experienced the most peaceful feeling, peaceful, spacious, no fear, nothing. It was just the most peaceful plane that I've ever felt. Like there wasn't any fear in my being. And so, like, before I forget to say it, I was still in existence, right? So even though my body was mortally wounded, I was still there. Like, I didn't cease existing. So a lot of people have fear around death because they think that's the end of who they are. And I'm here to tell you that that's not true. I've experienced that myself. And there are millions upon millions of people who've gone all the way to the border, like, and nearly got to a point of no return, and they made it come back into their body. And all those people, what they say is they completely lost their fear of death. So the fear of death is, of course, to do with an inbuilt fear in our neurology, and that's the fear of the unknown. Just because we don't know, nobody can tell you for sure what happens, right? In all honesty, because nobody's truly died and ever come back, from that, which is the honest truth. But many people have come very, very close to it. And of course, there are also the ancient beings the wise ancient beings. There are not many of those around anymore, but back in the eons ago, they were the community leaders, and those people were born with their memories from previous lifetimes intact. So they were born with a memory of all the times they existed in other planes or other lives. And so we know there are many, many planes of existence. And that's the big mystery. And because it's a mystery, there's a lot of fear around it. Because there's fear around it, people don't like to talk about it. They don't like to hurt each other's feelings. And that means that you start to live in constriction. And I'm all for living in freedom or in expansion, in growth, rather than in constriction. That's why I'm sharing this topic with you. And so, because our eyes, with our human eyes, ears, nose, and our senses, we apparently only see 1/1000th of reality, right? One tiny little billionth is what we see and experience while we're in the body. And so there's a lot of stuff going on around us, even now, today, me talking to you, that we're not conscious of, because our brain doesn't have the ability to transmit that information to us. But that doesn't mean that it's not existing, right? And so I am also here to assure you that when you die, you keep on existing. You existed somewhere before you came into the body, and you're the co-creator of your own life, and everything is going according to a divine plan, and there are spirit beings and spirit helpers that helped you create this body that you're in today, and it's like a sacred body. I also want you to remind you that you're a sacred being, and these are all things that people don't like to talk about, but they are very important that you remember it. And actually every night when we go to sleep, we close our eyes and we go to sleep, and everyone goes to sleep. We travel in our astral body, right? So we also leave our body at night and we travel, we have experiences in our astral body, which is one of our spiritual bodies. And so you could say that's like a little mini death. And then we wake up in the morning, and you could say we're born into a new day. So like every day you die and you're born again every night, and you still keep on existing. We don't even question that, and we don't have any fear around it. So how awesome would your life be if you could talk freely to everyone about, you know, the last closing chapter of your life, or people who were dying, friends who were sick, that we didn't put them away in institutions or lock them away in hospital rooms. Lots of people don't have the privilege of somebody to be near them when they're dying, and that is just really sad. That means our society and our community has become poorer, not richer, in many ways. So today I also want to give you 5 tips that, and if you do them every day, you practice them every day, you're going to feel very good about your life, and you're going to feel curious about your own death, and it will reduce the fear around it. So once the fear in your body is reduced, you become a lot more loving, healthier, happier, stronger, and not so easy to be hijacked, you know, by other mind control systems that are out there that are just taking advantage of your fear-based thinking, right? You know what I'm talking about, probably. Okay, so I just also want to remind you that we are 99.99999% space, according to scientists, and we are only 0.0001% physical matter, right? That's it. So it's just the tiniest particle of us that's physical matter. And while we are in this physical matter, we tend to become slaves of the physical matter, right? And a slave doesn't have much freedom. So this is another question, or something that I want you to think about during the next week. Like, how can I be less enslaved to the physical world, or how can I be more fulfilled and have more freedom around it and feel more connected to the energetic part of me, seeing that you're mostly energy. So even at the point of death, that's why it happens so quickly. It's just that tiny percent that's converted back into energy, right? And it just happens quickly and naturally without you having to do anything about it. So, so the first thing, the first hint that I want to give you is to foster an attitude of gratitude. So apparently gratitude or gratefulness, feeling grateful, and this is something that you can practice, right? Carries you into other realms. So find that really important. So if you think, yeah, I feel so disconnected, I want to look into other realms, I want to, be more spiritual or whatever. Well, you can't be more spiritual because you're mostly spirit anyway. But if you want to feel more connected and more at home with energetic reality, foster an attitude of gratitude, and it's just simply reminding you every day all the things that you feel grateful for. And it can be as simple as like, I'm sitting here sharing a message with you. I'm so grateful I'm alive today. I'm grateful that my body is breathing for me. So grateful for the sun, the blue sky. I'm grateful that I have running water coming out of the tap, that I'm wearing nice boots. I love the boots I'm wearing today. On and on. You just go on and on. Like, there's so many things. And it's literally carrying you out of the material realm into the heavenly realm, because an attitude of gratitude opens the doors of heaven. But bear in mind that heaven is here, not somewhere out there, okay? And the second really important thing is acknowledgement. So acknowledge just means, what's the word? Acknowledging to yourself that something is happening, right? And so like acknowledging somebody's wisdom, acknowledging somebody's kindness, acknowledging somebody's attention, consideration, acknowledging your own gifts and talents, acknowledging what you see is happening. Like, so if somebody is sick and dying, you can acknowledge that as well. So acknowledgement is another really good door opener rather than a door shutter. We're talking about the energy flow. We all want the energy to flow, because then we have a better life. So even acknowledging a problem, right, so it can be solved. Acknowledging what else, that you need healing from something, like a trauma that happened to you. Maybe you never told anyone about it, and you're not even acknowledging it to yourself, right? So the first step into feeling better about everything in your life, including dying, is acknowledgement. Even acknowledging that I'm a human being, and I know that one day I'm going to die as well, one time, right? And acknowledging if you're okay about it or not. And if you're not, how can you make it better for yourself? So this is all called acknowledgement, right? So that is sharing to the universe that you know what's going on. I'm acknowledging it. That would probably be the opposite to being in denial, because if we're in denial, we're stuck. Nobody can help us, not even God, right? And so the third thing that's really going to help you is to believe that there's something out there that's bigger than you. Like, whether you call it God, the creator, source, divine spirit, grace, something out there that's bigger than you, and that you're part of this plan, and you know that everything is going according to a divine order. There's nothing you have to change out there, right? And so that is also really, really good to practice for you. That there's something behind the surface, and that gives you the liberty and the courage to go under the surface, because so many people live on the surface, and then when something goes wrong, they get a big shock that they don't recover from. And then the fourth thing to do is to meditate every day. And it doesn't have to be hardcore meditation, trust me. Like, I don't really dedicate 10 minutes a day that I lock myself away to meditate. It would be good if I did, but I know I still get plenty of time during the day where I go into a meditative state. And I've trained myself to do that very quickly. And apparently people who meditate every day or regularly, they find it very easy to pass over, because their mind just automatically goes into that meditative state. And I have also experienced that myself, because after I was hit by the truck, and I had like a 7-year period of recovery, right, with many ups and downs. And I nearly died again during that time. And this time it wasn't a violent shock or violent accident. It was just a seeping away of my life force, and I felt totally at peace, right? I could have just kept going, and I felt that deep peace that runs underneath all the dramas of our life. I could have easily just slipped away then, but the thing that kept me coming back all the time was the fact that I have 6 children and Peter, of course, but you know, like being a mom, I didn't want my kids to be motherless. So I know that meditation, if you do it every day, that works, and it works. It just opens up everything for you. It makes you feel so much better about yourself. And it just simply means allowing your mind-body system to get still. When you get stillness in your body, you get clarity. Because when you sit next to a lake and it's all choppy, you can't see any reflection. But if the lake is still, like the surface of the water is still, you see the reflection, and then you have real clarity. And that's the same with your insides. And so the last thing, that's the most important thing, I kept it till last. So the ancient wise beings who kept reincarnating on earth many times, and who also still remembered the planes of existence where they stayed in between lives, they told us that the biggest regrets humans have is love withheld. Sorry, I just forgot the word. So withheld love, the love that they withheld in this life, or maybe in previous lifetimes. And that's the biggest regret. So I guess this is my most important message today, is that if you have love to give, go and do it now, right? And just to yourself as well, that includes self-love. So look for opportunities where you can give and receive love. So the receiving part has to be just as important. And probably today I see more people who have trouble receiving love because they've been hurt so many times, or there's trauma, and they've got walls around their heart, or their heart is frozen. And so I help people defrost their heart and make it safe for them to attract and receive true love. So sharing and giving and receiving love is what gives our lives meaning. And as I said before, apparently the deepest regret that people have on their deathbed and in between lives is the love that they didn't, the love that they withheld. So whatever it means for you, you can tune into that. And then you can maybe be brave and step out today or tomorrow and reach out to somebody that you've put in the freezer, right? If it's safe to do so. I'm not saying reach out to abusers. I'm saying maybe you had a little fight with somebody and you've lost a friendship and you feel regrets around it. Just be brave and reach out to those people, and also be brave and give yourself more love and care as well. So if you need time out, take time to meditate. That's all part of self-love. Eat well, have treatment, see yourself as a sacred being, see yourself how the spiritual world sees you. Anyway, that's really what I wanted to share with you today. So it's a bit of a deep message, but I just felt like, well, this is what's happening in my life. It's happening for me. I wanted to share it with you. And let me know where you're at in life, and if you need help, I'm here to help you. And also, thanks for tuning in. Practice some of these tips. I will put my little blog at the bottom of the video so you can go back to the 5 tips and just do one at a time, and it already will make you feel so much freer and calmer. Thanks everyone. Let me know if this makes sense to you, and I look forward to being with you again next Tuesday. Big love from me. Bye bye.